Hey everybody, what's up and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be over Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon. The first episode we finally got, and also a little tease that they released at the end of the episode, kind of covering the entire season and what we can expect from this first season as far as the variant walkers that we're going to see, and just further surprises, further mysteries, and just a little bit of everything. And as I said in the review, which I will post down in the description, this first episode just really blew me away, and I think that is the general consensus amongst the fan base. When the show was first announced, a lot of people were not sure of it, how they could do it, how they could make it work with Daryl being over in France and how he gets there and everything. But they really just kind of exceeded all expectations within this first episode. Now, the trend kind of changed as far as AMC Plus subscribers. We were used to getting Walking Dead content Thursdays, and then before that we were getting it a whole week early, and I guess just some people didn't care for that, and I know I can understand. Spoilers were just that much more harder to avoid, but I guess here with the Daryl Dixon series and everything, we got it about 18 hours before it was going to be on the live feed of AMC, and I guess that's how they're going to do it this go around. We are not going to get them a full 2 or 3 days in advance. We're only going to get them not even a full day in advance. We're only going to get them about 18 hours, which is roughly about 3 in the morning here on the East Coast versus about midnight over there on the West Coast. So you have some advantage, I guess, getting it where you can watch it early Sunday morning versus the regular airing time there Sunday night, which kind of sucks, but I understand. But going along with that, jumping into this video, I wanted to break down that first season teaser that we got that's showing just all kinds of things that's definitely excited for, things you're just wondering what the hell's going on, and just all the action that we're going to see this season. I kind of wanted to go over this frame by frame and kind of give my thoughts and everything, what we can expect as far as the season goes, and connections between other spin-offs or other plans down the road for the Walking Dead franchise. But in this first bit of the teaser, this first clip I'm going to show is Daryl at this dinner table with what appears to be a lot of kids. Now, I want to say this group of kids or whatever is probably one of the pit stops along the way that we saw on the map, where Isabella pointed out there are these pit stops of all these different locations that they could consider allies along the way, trying to get to this northern port of France where this boat dock is. So we kind of get this group of kids, and he's having dinner with them, and he seems like it's kind of an awkward situation because Daryl, as we know, has never been like a big group person. He's quite the loner. And we hear a voiceover of what sounds like Daryl praying or just kind of talking to God in general, that he doesn't understand why the world got turned upside down the way it did, but he believes that he had his reasons or whatever, and just he's trying to kind of fit in, I guess, with this group and just be a part of their mission or whatever. And then this next bit is just another shot from that scene itself where we see a close-up of Daryl, and we hear him talking about this. We have Isabel sitting next to him. But moving on, we see some outside scenes in France within what would have been the densely populated areas of that part of France and everything, where we have what looks like a cathedral in the background. Then we have what looks like could be a Capitol building of some sort, and them just making their way through. There's tarps hanging from the Capitol building or whatever that building is. And they're trying to make their way through and get to the next stopping point. And of course, there are walkers kind of lurking about. Now, this guy, I don't believe we've gotten a name on him yet, but he seems to be an ally. And I want to say he's probably with that group of kids. Now, these group of kids, as I will show you in the next shot, they seem to probably use these masks or whatever to kind of fend off anybody that would do them harm or want to take them or use them or whatever the situation is. They use these masks and everything, and I believe this is a scene where they have Daryl pinned down, kind of interrogating him in a sense as he's making his way to that port with Isabel and the rest of his group. Now, here it seems this may be kind of a memorial spot within this crowd, and this is probably when he gets kind of within that crowd of kids or within that settlement. My guess is this is just a memorial that they have set up for people they've lost along the way, either before the apocalypse or within their group in the apocalypse. and just this might be something they do on a regular basis to kind of pay tribute to those people that they've lost. And we hear in this part, anyways, where you can't miss something you never had. And I want to say that this is Daryl. Obviously, they're all sitting around watching a movie, and he's with these kids. And these kids, they were born well within the apocalypse. They're probably 6-7 years old, and the world has since ended over a decade beforehand. So they don't know what the world for what it was and everything. And that's kind of what he goes on to explain, that you can't miss something you never had. And they're all just kind of to sit around and enjoy a movie. And I'm sure this kind of takes him back to when the world was still whole, and maybe not so much because he had kind of a traumatizing childhood and everything. But he probably feels some sort of pity for these kids that they never got to see the world for what it was and the things that you could have that were good if you could be so fortunate enough to get that. And he just feels sorry for these kids that they're growing up in a world that's so torn apart and so dangerous that he has to be there to protect them. And that's probably kind of what we'll see unfold a little bit, because we know that Daryl is a protector. He's not going to just walk away from someone that needs help, because we saw that in the opening episode where he's leaving this convent, but he goes back to save them after he sees Condron and his group of mercenaries encroach upon the convent and everything, looking for him. So he goes back in, kills a whole lot of them. But this is kind of, I think, where they're going with this, where we're going to see probably a familiar side, I guess, of Daryl, where he is still going to be the protector, because he was the protector for Judith and other kids of the Alexandria settlement and everything for so long. Now, this scene, I want to say this because they say in the voiceover that, we haven't seen each other for so many years. And I want to say that this guy pops up in another shot I'm going to show you here in a couple minutes. But this is probably just a friend, or maybe even a former lover of some sorts that Isabel had before the world turned to shit. But I don't know if this guy's going to be around very long. And this, I want to say, is probably a kind of flashback as we get towards the end of the season, because there's some other scenes that pop up that kind of point in that direction, that this could be a callback to how Daryl got his situation that he got in, that got him captured and got him out in the middle of the ocean and on the shores of France. This is a similar, I want to say, probably from that same scene where Daryl is being approached, or he's going to approach this person. He's going to take every bit of caution. We see him draw his knife, and this could very well be a member of the group that's responsible for kidnapping Daryl and placing him under capture, or placing him as a prisoner upon this cargo ship. Now, this is also, I want to say this is within that first little bit of flashback, maybe shortly before he gets captured, because he mentioned that he's on the shores of Maine, or on the coast of Maine. And I could see this being the situation where shortly after this he gets captured. And I want to say that he's probably talking to Carol. That's probably how she gets word or whatever that he has been taken, or he didn't simply show up where he was supposed to be, because he says he's going to be there in a week. He doesn't show, so she retraces his steps and finds out that something went wrong. He was taken by a certain group of people, and we're going to kind of talk about those people too. And this is the walker that we see chasing Daryl, where he jumps ship in the trailer and the teaser and whatnot. But we can see these walkers are being experimented on. Who knows what they're doing to them, because we see what looks like ports on the walker that they're injecting them with different things to see how their body reacts. And this thing is fast, it's aggressive, and it's fucking terrifying. And we see in this clip of the scene where Daryl blasts this thing across the face, and it looks like it doesn't even hurt it. It comes back for more. And so we can see that these walkers are probably going to be harder to kill too. And this, shortly after that attack, this is where he jumps ship. This is Madame Genet, where we've not really learned too much about her yet. She was the one who questioned the captain at the end of the last episode, and she comes off kind of terrifying, where she is very intimidating, and she's willing to kill somebody for this. We don't know what to expect from her. As I said, we don't know much about this woman yet, where she came from, what her background is, and particularly, what is this group that she is in charge of? Who are they? Do they have any connection to CRM, or are they CRM themselves? That we don't know. I want to say they're probably not CRM, because CRM is pretty boastful about who they are, and they're always sporting their 3-ring logos on their jackets and everything. And we can see that she does not have those, so they could simply be a collaborator of the CRM to have the resources they do, to have the cargo ship, the fuel to run the cargo ship, the manpower, because we know that the CRM is very powerful and their reach is pretty far. So to say that they are in line with CRM is not that far-fetched, but we just don't know yet. And here is another walker that I can only assume is a variant or just simply an experiment, because we see this walker actually smash its face into the glass and showing, just what walkers do. That's not showing any concern for itself, and they're willing to get at this person or people by any means necessary. But also the dead giveaway, obviously, is the walker head in a jar that's connected to various tubes and connections and whatnot, and we don't know what's going on there. We just know that this group, whoever they are experimenting on walkers, and we see more of that within this teaser. And we got Condron now, who we saw from the first episode. He pretty much lost, I could see what was of his force and everything. We don't know if he's got more lying in wait, or if the additional forces that he has down the road are from Madame Genet, where as we see in this teaser, he says he's going to prove his usefulness. Now, I don't know if that means that if he has any previous connections to this woman or to their organization, or this is him coming across all of them and being like, I want to join your force. I want to go after this man because he killed my brother. Now, this next frame kind of is a callback to that frame or that picture that I showed you where Isabel is talking to this mystery guy with the long hair. I believe this is him because obviously it very much looks like him and everything, so I don't think that guy's going to play a huge role other than just a connection to Isabel's past, and maybe he reveals something or just has something to do with her past and just kind of adding more background to her story and serving no purpose really beyond that, and that's why I believe that is this dude reanimated here and she actually takes him out. Now, in the next frame, this is what you can see. Daryl is in this kind of gladiator style arena where he's on this lower level surrounded by all these people. I believe this is after he is picked up by Condron at some point, where obviously Condron is still blaming him for the death of his brother and wants to see him pay for it, and this is where he is going to fight the fast looking burner walker, or if it's just a fast walker or just a combo. I'm not sure what direction they're going to go, but Daryl is in this situation where he has to fight his way out, a situation that he's been in many, many times over the years. And this next one is what I can assume is a burner walker, just judging by the veins or whatever on its face and its eyes and everything. And it has this dart in its neck, so I don't know what the significance of the dart is in its neck. I don't know if it's a way of juicing up these things, and that's how they get fast, because in the next frame, we see this walker charging at Daryl, and it is the same walker because we see the mouthpiece on the floor and the darts as well. And so I want to say that this is probably a way that they're experimenting on them to kind of make them more deadly and quicker and everything. So I want to say that this is probably some sort of juicing factor. Maybe it could simply be adrenaline. We don't know how a walker's circulatory system is really going to work for something like this, or how they can kind of explain it away. But we see in this is the walker that Daryl has to fight, and he faced a similar one on that ship that he ran away from. This is further confirming all the variants I think they're going to have, because there was that bit in the first episode where Isabel says this is just one of the kinds that we have here, when she tells him that he got burnt by a burner, or a boiler as she called it too. So who knows how many variants we're actually going to see. We know we have the burners, we have the quick ones, and now it looks like we could have a combo of the two. And, we could still see smart ones that can pick up weapons or figure out simple little obstacles or what have you. So we don't know what direction they're going to take as far as how many variants we're going to have, if they're really going to expand it that far and have, a dozen different kinds. I kind of hope they don't. That would be kind of silly to have that many different variants, but you never know. They could make them really creative and actually really interesting to the show and everything. But that is the breakdown of that teaser. A lot of stuff to be excited for and everything. A lot of things that's really going to pump up the episodes and bring fresh breath to the story of The Walking Dead, especially Daryl's character in this new setting and this new world, facing these different dangers, and ultimately, hopefully, getting home, being reunited with his family, with Rick and Michonne, if they take it that way, because there's a lot of different ways they could do with that series as well. I hope they don't do anything drastic like kill somebody off in that show, but you just don't know with these shows. But if they do, I guarantee they will have a fucking riot on their hands because people want to see Rick get home to Daryl, to his children, and everyone in Alexandria and complete that story the proper and really the only way they can and not cause a complete backlash from the fandom. But anyways, guys, that was my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like down below, leave your comments as well, and as always, if you feel so inclined, subscribe to the channel. I am almost exclusively doing Walking Dead content lately. It seems to be the only thing out there that's popping. So anyways, guys, take care. Have a great day. Bye.